undisputed parents of Michelin-starred cuisine here in the UK are the Roux brothers. They're like the royal family of Michelin stars. They just have this incredible legacy here in the United Kingdom. As young chefs, most of us studied their books to learn the intricacy and the understanding of classic French cuisine. I swear to God, Hugh Laurie just walked past. And the guy we're seeing today runs one of those restaurants. So, Flat White and Berwick Street, one of the original speciality coffee shops that was here. It's been here for years. 100% in my top 10 coffee shops in London. It's not only great coffee, but it's like slap bang in the middle of Soho. If you're coming to London and you love coffee, Flat White needs to be on your bucket list. So basically, there are some tests that you give chefs to understand their technical ability. My old boss, Raymond Blanc, used to give prospective chefs an omelette to cook to see how good they were. And if they didn't get that right, they didn't get the job. And invariably these tests use eggs, and the ultimate egg test is, can you cook a souffle? So today, we're gonna go and see Steve Groves to create a souffle. I've known Steve for maybe 13, 14 years. We met at a charity do where we were both cooking, and Steve's the real deal. Like, he's won MasterChef to Professionals, the second series. That's professional chefs cooking against professional chefs, judged by professional chefs. And last year in 2019, he was voted the Craft Guild Chef of the Year. If there's anybody that can show us how to do a souffle with French technique, Steve's my boy. And Steve's Instagram? Ridiculous. Have a look at his souffle. Like, that thing's 10 inches, man. Not size is everything, but maybe it is with a souffle. Maybe size does matter. But where does that leave me? Parliament Square, please, mate. People, today we're going to see legitimate culinary Jedi royalty. Roux Parliament Square is the restaurant that's just over from Big Ben. It's where the great and good of London go to eat, and my mate Steve Groves runs it. A souffle is like, is it the ultimate technical?
There's different ways you can do a souffle. I think the way the kind of kitchens operate now, there's less rules of like, this has to be done this way, otherwise it's wrong. I think, you know, with a lot of the modern chefs coming through and like the younger generation, they're kind of more inclined to bend the rules or kind of like push the boundaries and try new things. Yes. And obviously you get different results on that, and sometimes better results.
Okay, first job.
Peel up black bananas.
Like, have you put these in the freezer?
Yeah, so essentially what we've done is just wait until they go kind of black, and then we freeze them and then defrost them. And what you got is just super soft, really tasty bananas. So they're like really sweet. Is
it like the freezing kind of almost tenderizes them? Or, you know, why do you whack them in the freezer?
Well, it does. It just enhances the flavour. It helps them break down more, so it's, puree them up nice and smooth. But it's more just about kind of really enhancing that banana flavour. If I grab these like green bananas in the supermarket, I always make sure I get the ones that have kind of got at least the brown freckles on, you know? Because
that's where the flavour's at, right? It's like naturally the sugar's coming through.
So now we're going to make the base. So we'll caramelise the sugar, we'll slake that with a bit of water, and then we'll thicken up. We'll put the puree into the caramel and then make the base. Okay. So sugar will go in. Yeah. With the caramel, we don't want it to go too fast. We want to get a really nice, even caramel on there. So it's a case of just, you know, keep on it, keep shaking it. Don't want to stir it because it'll get stuck to the whisk. It'll start to kind of crystallise. We just want a nice, even, kind of relatively dark caramel because we want it to be like slight bitterness, because obviously there's a lot of sweetness in this souffle. So slight bitterness from the caramel notes is what we're really after. Just to get that nice balance. So yeah, just keep an eye on that, don't burn it. Cheers.
Yes, chef.
Yeah, it's a little bit darker, just getting more of that kind of like...
Okay, get those bitter vibes, yeah.
So what, we want to get that just slightly smoking.
Okay, so what happens now?
So we're going to whisk the puree in, keep it on the heat.
Okay.
I'll pour it in for you. It's going to splutter, so...
It's okay that there's chunks in there.
Yeah, key bit here is obviously the caramel will set and go into like sugary lumps.
Yes.
So we want to melt that. So we need to get it back on the heat, melt all that sugar back into the banana puree. I'm going to slake the cornflour with a bit of water, and then we're going to get that into there. So this cornflour is what gives the base the structure. It's going to give it that strength to rise and stay up for a few minutes. So we get it back on the heat, and we want that to be at a simmer when we pour this in.
Okay, and why is that?
Just so that as soon as we pour this mixture in, it will start to thicken up. And then we'll cook out the corn flour so we don't end up with that raw, floury taste. We want to, completely cook out. And I mean, there's different ways of making a souffle base. I mean, obviously, very classically, you'd make a pastry cream base. But what I want is a really pure flavour of those bananas. We've got a really kind of intensely flavoured banana. I don't want to dilute that with extra kind of dairy or egg yolks and things like that. So all we've got here is obviously our caramel flavour, which is just enhancing that banana flavour. And then the corn flour is just thickening it up without really diluting the flavour at all. The thing is, in a restaurant, we'd obviously make a batch of this, but I mean, at home, you can have this done and keep it in the freezer as the thickened base and kind of pull it out whenever you've got a dinner party on.
So you keep it on the stove for a good sort of like 5 or 6 minutes?
Yeah, you want to cook it out for at least a couple of minutes just to get that kind of, like I said, that raw corn flour flavour gone. And just pass it through a sieve.
You pass it through a sieve purely to just get the lumps out?
Yeah, if there's any lumps of corn flour, any lumps of caramel even, just make sure we've got none of that in there.
Oh my God, Jesus, wet.
We're just gonna let it cool down. Now, the other things we need to do are make a butterscotch sauce and crystallise some peanuts.
Oh.
If we ever have to put calories on the menu, I'm not sure where this one will end up. So for our meringue itself, we take 90 grams of egg whites, and to that we add 40 grams of caster sugar, and about half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, which just gives it a bit of stability to the meringue. Really important to make sure the bowl is kind of clear of any grease and the whisk attachment is clear of any grease, otherwise it won't whip up, you won't get the volume out of it, and then you won't get that kind of lift in your meringue. Once that starts whipping up, incorporate the rest of the sugar just down the side. And we want to get a really nice, firm, thick, stiff meringue. We like the sugar gives it a nice structure, and this is what's going to give our souffle its lift. Our base is cooled down, it's super thick now, and it's worth just beating that initially, just to kind of soften it up a little bit so we can fold the whites into it without knocking out too much of the air. We're then going to add about a third of our meringue and then beat that in without worrying too much about knocking out air, because we want to slacken off that souffle base. It's important that it's incorporated properly, because I don't want like streaks of just egg white and meringue. I want it nicely mixed, but nice and light, nice and fluffy. And again, I want to be careful I'm not knocking too much air out with the bag, so I'm going to cut the hole for the bag really quite wide, because we don't want to force in this lovely fluffy mixture through a really kind of tight hole. And then we're going to go into our souffle mould. So our souffle mould's been double buttered, so soft butter, just brushed up the sides of the souffle mould, popped in the fridge, and then do it again. So put the bag to the bottom of the mould and just allow the souffle mix to come up around the outside of the bag, just to stop any air pockets. Just tap it down, just in case there are any air pockets. So I'm just going to, from the centre, about 45-degree angle on the knife, push it out to the edge, make sure we get a nice, smooth, flat top on the souffle. So what we're going to do next is we're going to clean around the rim. This is the bit that people always moan about. If you do this on MasterChef, everyone's like, right into the BBC. He's stuck his fucking fingers in the food. My fingers. Magic ingredient. Don't put that in the video, alright? So we're just gonna run my thumb around the edge. This bit around the edge is very thin, so it's gonna cook quickest. If that sets to the mould, it's gonna try and rise, If it's stuck on one side, it's gonna come up wonky. So we just wanna make a hole in the middle, and I want that so that sauce can get in there as well.
Thanks, Chef.
No worries, enjoy.
Banana souffle, butterscotch sauce, peanut butter ice cream, like seriously. I'm just gonna eat it, I'm just gonna eat it. I'm gonna need a minute to come back to you on this one. Ultimate is a word that gets branded about everywhere today. It's just so hard to find the analogy. He's chosen not lightweight, but 100% heavyweight, dominant, aggressive flavours. The butterscotch is so indulgent. Then the peanut butter ice cream, that's a big flavour there again, right? But then he's got the banana souffle, and what he's done is the guy has just like put so much obsession into every step of the souffle. It starts with, how do I maximize the flavor of banana? Okay, I get them ripe. I put them in the freezer, which basically like helps tenderize and really sort of macerate the fruit until it becomes this perfection of banana. that's his ingredient. And then he takes F1 NASA into the technique of the souffle. So every step of the way, he's going, I'm gonna build this massive souffle with massive flavors, and it's going to have great structure. And then I'm going to wallop it with some hardcore peanut butter ice cream, and then I'm gonna get some crunch in there, because you need that contrast, you need that like relief from the indulgence. And then I'm gonna give you a slap round the chops with some butterscotch sauce. Like, mate, you know, a souffle, it's such a chef test. Do you know what I mean? It like separates the boys from the men. You really get to understand if a chef knows what the hell he's going on about. You need to try that souffle once in your life. You need to know what a proper souffle tastes like. You know, he's just bringing all those naughty, childish demands when we're small, and just like, I want more, mummy. And he gives it to you. I just think the world's a better place for that pudding in it.